Hi folks, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree. Many of you know where I'm at. I'm in one of my sacred places at the beach, and when I come to the beach I generally do some writing, and I wanted to share with you some exciting news that I've begun a book. I actually began the book 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, right after my shattering. But with complex PTSD, you suffer a lot of brain fog, and I wrote several chapters and then I made videos on those chapters, but there was just too much trauma in my system to have the focus to finish the book. But now I'm definitely ready to finish the book, so I'm excited about that. The title of the book is different than what I had imagined a couple years ago. I was calling that book In the Eye of the Tiger, taking off on Peter Levine's concept that trauma is like there's a tiger in the room. But 2 years later, after learning more about narcissists and learning a lot about myself and healing a lot myself and learning about complex PTSD and learning about narcissistic abuse syndrome, the title of the book is called Becoming an Alchemist: How to Transform the Trauma of Shattering and Narcissistic Abuse into Pure Gold. So I'm going to read the introduction of this book to you. I'd like you guys to get interested in it and buy the book when it gets done. But in the meantime, if y'all can get help from the concepts of the book, then that's cool too. So here's the introduction. I'm just going to read it and then I'll pause and comment as I go. After 2 grueling and very traumatic years of recovery from the shattering involved in narcissistic abuse syndrome, I'm ready to write about my experiences, really ready to write for the first time all that I've learned. I have some time here in the next week at my favorite beach, and I can feel the words flowing from my fingers as I type. I haven't really written in 3 years, but it's time to write. That's the next line. I have not really written anything in 3 years due to the crippling lack of focus and brain fog that is one of the hallmarks of narcissistic abuse syndrome. Making a video takes about 1,000% less energy than writing a book. So that is how I've been sharing my journey with you, with anyone who chose to listen. The problem with making videos a little bit at a time over a 2-year period is the message comes out a bit disjointed. I want to share my thoughts now in a more organized, coherent manner as I feel it would benefit especially you people out there who are relatively new in this process, new in your recovery from shattering, and having the message be more organized and more coherent, I think would help you. Several months ago, a very good friend of mine got some magically encouraging words from one of his listeners, and the words jolted me. My friend was admonished, "Do not take your recent struggles as defeat. but instead consider them an opportunity to officially take the world by storm and to write your magna opus. Everybody, you all saw the movie Mr. Holland's Opus, and it wasn't a magnificent musical score that he wrote. His opus was his life. His opus was his students. So I'm pretty sure the book that I'm writing is not going to be nominated or confused as any kind of magna opus, but it is a sincere effort of mine to put you guys and the world on notice that it is my single-minded goal to absolutely take the world by storm with the redemptive message that there is healing and there is blessing in narcissistic abuse syndrome recovery. I work with this really insightful, really well-educated young woman from Germany, and one day during a therapy session, she startled me. She said, "I want to become an alchemist like you." I'm like, "What?" "What? What'd you say?" And she said, "You are a true alchemist because you have taken mud and somehow you've transformed it into gold." That's what alchemy is changing the chemical properties from one matter to another. So after I assured her that all that glitters from afar, from as far away as Germany, is perhaps not as high a quality of gold as it might look, I just couldn't shake her comment. The recovery process from narcissistic abuse syndrome is about turning blood and guts and mud and shit and trauma and shattering into a very redemptive, very wonderful personal growth and healing, and ultimately a much better life than you've ever lived before. So this client's words continue to haunt me until the hidden inner writer in me just sort of woke up a few days ago and just knew it was time to write down my insights into this process of recovery alchemy, a process into a powerful, concise, and systematic manner that many of you out there who are stuck in the proverbial mud can start turning some really bad shit into some genuine gold of thriving, being healed, being positive, and having a heroic, wonderful new life. This client encouraged me a bit further when she wrote, "You are giving invaluable service to society. Thank you for that. We live in a world of unspeakable cognitive dissonance, and you are a voice of truth in the midst of great confusion and great deception." I'm going to read that again. We live in a world of unspeakable cognitive dissonance, and you are a voice of truth in the midst of great confusion and deception. Those are true words written by a wise young woman in terms of her analysis of the world being a place of cognitive dissonance. There's so much confusion and there's so much deception, and you don't know what to think because we weren't brought up to know about these people and the awful effect that they can have on us. So the goal for me with this book is to be a life-giving voice for truth, for healing, for precision, and for insight to multitudes of you out there who are literally being tortured by unspeakable cognitive dissonance in a world that is truly overflowing with confusion and with truly despicable deception. Part of why this client's observation startled me is I didn't really feel like an alchemist. I felt like a fella wrestling in the mud. I felt like just a guy wrestling in the mud against a whole army of really vicious narcissists, flying monkeys, judgers, shamers, controllers, and other mean-ass people who had agendas, misperceptions, and prejudices. And yeah, I've had my share of victories, but I've also had my ass handed to me on multiple occasions. But the truth is that I have consistently offered a unique redemptive paradigm shift that I haven't heard coming from other quarters. That isn't their gig. Their gig might be educating you about narcissism and narcissists and borderlines. It might be instructing you on how to have wise tactics with such people. It might be their gig is helping you process your complex PTSD symptoms. My gig is helping you to piece it all together and to understand why this happened to you and how you can turn it around and use it to your benefit and your healing. So I haven't heard this coming from other quarters, and it does, in fact, the paradigm that I espouse, have the power to transform the filthy, muddy life, scarring wounds of your narcissistic abuse into the gold of deep emotional healing and the ultimate reimagination and re-invention of your own life. To the degree that my struggles can offer some light, some energy, some insight, some direction in helping you turn your mud into gold, then I offer every word of this book for your careful and reflective consideration. So that's my first chapter. That's the introduction. I've written the first chapter. I've got 10 pages. I'd like to have 100 pages, and I'd like to have the thing for sale by the end of the week, because the message is in me. And there are chapters that I wrote when I was more raw, because I wanted to write them when I was raw so that it would meet you where you are if you're mired in some really wicked and disturbing and overwhelming symptoms of narcissistic abuse syndrome. So it's a beautiful day at the beach. I'm going to go take a walk in the waves, and I'm going to be in touch quite a bit this week, because writing is an arduous task. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and every now and again I'm going to take a break and I'm going to talk with you all and give you little snippets of the book that's coming. I do hope to have this book completed by the end of the week. I got a lot of things stirring inside me that can help you, that can change your life and turn something wicked and disgusting and horrible into pure and precious gold. If you haven't joined Family Tree Brand Life Coaches YouTube channel, please subscribe. And also, I do already have 6 books available, either from Amazon. You can download it in Kindle form, or you can find those books at familytreecounseling.com. Thank you for watching today. I will be in touch. I hope these words have helped you and blessed you. Take care. God bless.